Welcome to Somerset Weekly Wrap-Up for the week of August 18th to August 24th. The Selectmen on Wednesday night appointed Mark Alucci to be Somerset's next town administrator. They signed a contract with Alucci, who will begin work on September 12th. Alucci's salary will be $162,500. He will earn another $2,500 for being the town's hearing officer. When he becomes a Massachusetts certified procurement officer, he will receive another $5,000. If Alucci decides not to opt into the town's health insurance, he will earn another $5,000. Selectmen Chairman Alan Smith said it costs about $20,000 per town employee for health insurance. Alucci is a deputy police chief in Warwick, Rhode Island. He said if he got the job, he and his wife plan to move to Somerset. Voters at the special town meeting on Monday night turned down a request for an additional $9.9 million for the new middle school project. The request was being made because bids for the project came in over budget. The building committee says that a new middle school will still be built, but significant cuts are going to have to be made to the design of the school, and the completion of the building will take a year longer, into 2025. The committee will be meeting on Monday at 6 p.m. at the North Elementary School to discuss the next steps for the project. An Osprey has been causing some power outages at the water pollution control facility on Walker Street. Harold Gracia, the plant manager for the sewer plant, said the Osprey has been landing on a telephone pole where it has been trying to build a nest. Gracia said there are 3 power legs attached to the sewer plant. As the Osprey has been trying to build its nest, Gracia said the bird has been dropping sticks on 2 of the legs, shorting out one of them that has been causing power outages. National Grid has tried a number of strategies to keep the Osprey away from the sewer plant, including putting plastic spikes in, a model of an owl, and orange cones. Gracia said National Grid also wanted to put in another pole for the Osprey. He said the latest solution has been to put a satellite dish on top of the telephone pole. Gracia said the Osprey has not come back since the dish was put up. Steve Catarat, a member of the Water and Sewer Commission, said an Osprey made a nest on an oxygen tank at another water treatment plant where he has worked. He said the solution was to put up a pole that was 5 feet higher than the oxygen tank, 60 feet away from the tank. He said that Osprey went to the pole instead of the oxygen tank. The Water and Sewer Commission on Wednesday discussed security for protecting the town's reservoir. The commissioners and Water and Sewer Superintendent Paul Sylvia said there have been activities around the reservoir that are not allowed, such as fishing, dirt bike riding, and horseback riding. The commissioners and the superintendent discussed using a drone for security around the reservoir. Sylvia said a Federal Aviation Administration pilot's license would be needed for the water department to operate a drone over the reservoir. Sylvia said he has talked to Somerset Police Officer Paul Trenholm, who is in charge of the drone unit for the police department, about having a drone to monitor the reservoir. He said there could be a loudspeaker on the drone. A subcommittee that had been looking at reconfiguring the elementary schools to have a few grades in each of the 3 schools rather than having the current kindergarten through grade 5 configuration in each school has decided to stay with the current configuration. School Superintendent Jeffrey Schoonover said there are not a lot of research studies on having a few grades on each school rather than having all 6, but he said in a thorough report that was done for the Attleboro Public Schools, there was no evidence that having a few grades in each school would increase learning, and said there was evidence of a negative impact. He said evidence showed that it is not the right decision for Somerset to change the grade configuration of its elementary schools. Schoonover said it would be an inconvenience to parents to have multiple students in different elementary schools at different times and making more transitions to different schools. The Veterans Advisory Board is planning to hold a flag retirement ceremony for tattered American flags on September 24th at 10 a.m. at the Somerset Fire Department. George Andes, a member of the Veterans Advisory Board, said that between the tattered flags that are collected from the public at Eau Claire's Market, AMVETS, American Legion, and the town office building, there are a lot of flags that need to be properly disposed of. Andy said the flag retirement ceremony will be done at the Somerset Fire Department. He said Fire Chief Jameson Barrows told him he will have some vehicles moved from the back parking area so the ceremony can be held there. Andy said the ceremony involves raising a flag, retiring the flag, and placing it in a fire. He said the audience then disperses and the rest of the flags are placed in the fire. Andy said polyester and nylon flags cannot be burned, so the Veterans Advisory Board will find a different way to retire them. The Somerset Recreation Department is registering participants for its Soapbox Races that will be held on September 17th. Pre-registration is required to enter the races, which have an entry fee of $30. The races are for children between the ages of 5 years old and 12 years old. Registration for Somerset residents will be held between August 22nd and September 13th. Registration for non-residents will be held from August 29th to September 13th. Forms are available online at the Playground and Recreation Department's page on the town website at townofsomerset.org. The Recreation Department has kits to build cars for families who have never participated before. There is an additional charge for the kits. Thank you for tuning in to Somerset Weekly Wrap-Up. We will see you next week with news from around Somerset.